Hey everybody, welcome to Driving Cheap with Jeff. On today's video, I'd like to show you how to change the power steering pump on the 2000 Chevy Silverado 2500 with a Hydro Boost steering and brake system. I chose not to show you how to take all this stuff off because it's pretty self-explanatory and easy to do. The fan clutch, I'll tell you, it comes off counterclockwise like anything else. Comes off counterclockwise. I put anti-seize on this nut right here. I use this big F wrench and a rubber mallet. These are held down by these little plastic fasteners that I take off with my Harbor Freight plastic fastener removal tool. Airflow sensor comes off. You got two 10mm bolts on the top of this. Moving on, I just gorilla tape the belts out of the way because I don't have any more bungee cords left. Everything else has been done on this truck. I've replaced lots of stuff. I have my O'Reilly Auto Parts remanufactured power steering pump. The bearing's bad in this one, it's making a little noise. Comes with O-rings. And always make sure you have your magnetic retrieval tool that you can't use. I did not take the skid plate off the bottom. I have this is something everybody should have in the driveway. Something like this. You go to Lowe's, spend $25 and get this. It's for masonry. Works great. Catch all the oil that you spill. It'll get you out of the driveway. At least you can go rinse it off. And you just set that down there, and you're pretty much good. All right. So now I'm going to show you how to use the O'Reilly Auto Parts Evertough Pulley puller for power steering pump. It took me a few minutes to figure it out myself, but it was a 67010. Now, the way this works is you have this pin. You use this long pin, and you use this piece here that threads onto this nut right here with this washer welded onto it. Now you take the smaller side, which is this side, you put this on. So go ahead and set this on here, and then you slide this ring over the top of it so it all sits nice. Well, first you have to do this, I'm sorry. You do have to set this, slide that in. It all has to go together as a unit. So slide it all in. Alright. Now, once you get that in there, set these two on either side, alright? Set them on either side. They should stay nice and snug. Slide this ring right over the top. Alright? Ring is over the top. Now we're going to tighten up. We're going to tighten this bolt up here. I've got vice grips on her just so I have a little bit of mobility. Be careful, you'll put some burrs on that thing, don't snap them down too tight. Got my 16mm socket with my long handle 3/8 ratchet. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to tighten this baby up. Let's see what happens. Tightening up, it should be sliding it right off. Yep, you feel it coming. Hey everybody, welcome to Driving Cheap with Jeff. This is day 2 of the Chevy Silverado power steering pump replacement. And I'd like to talk to you about what I did wrong and what I figured out on the Chevy Silverado power steering pump, which is the same. All the LS motors, the 4.8 and the 5.3 and the 6.0, they all have the same accessory bracket, which is this right here. And I'm going to show you what you need to do to get that pulley off. It's pressed on there. Now, what I did was on my bracket, this is a bracket that I bought today from the junkyard because I damaged my own. So this is the O'Reilly Auto Parts accessory kit, or puller and installer kit. It is 67010. And I will show you what happened to mine and why I'm not going to do it again, and I'll show you what I have come up with. Okay, so you take the smaller ends. Smaller ends go around this collar here and around this here. They sit right over the top of that. Then you put this sleeve over the top of this, right? And you simply tighten this up. And as you tighten this up, actually you tighten this thing here, but you have to keep this collar on here. As you get it finger tight, okay. So now it's nice and snug. Well, I did this while it was on the truck, and that's fine. And I put a 16mm socket on here with a 3/8 long ratchet, and it went to popping, and it was acting like it wanted to come off. But what actually happened was this thing was on here so tight, and I had put PB Blaster on it, that didn't help. What happened was it ripped the entire collar off the pulley, and it tore all this off of here. All this was broken. So it pulled it about halfway out. So I thought, well, I could pry it a little further. Then the bracket, I actually had just barely enough room to where I could get the bolts out on the back side. At this point, I decided to remove the entire thing, the entire accessory bracket off of the truck, just disconnect the lines. And it's not a lot of bolts. There's only 2 bolts that hold the alternator on, and you can just unbolt that and set it off to the side. You have these bolts right here, and all this stuff has to come off. Then you have a bolt that attaches on the back side of this, on the reverse side back here. But yeah, there's a bolt on the front here. There's also one that goes on the back here. There's a bracket. Oh, right here. Yeah, the bolt right here. And that's on the back side. It's all easy to get to. It's really easy to get to. And I decided this time I'm not going to use this puller. I went and I bought a brand new pulley. I got my remanufactured power steering pump. I already switched over the hardware from my pump over to it. I got this new pulley for like $18. Well worth it. I got this new pulley. It's almost exactly the same, pretty much. And I put some anti-seize lubricant on this power steering shaft right here, because I don't want this thing to get frozen on like that again. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to carefully use my Harbor Freight grinder / cutter, and I'm going to cut a piece of this out to where I can gain access to the bolts and just turn it as needed. I'm going to get a good piece of this cut out, and it's not going to be hard. It's not going to take long. It'll be much easier than trying to do anything else. But I'm going to take a slice out of this, and I'm going to unbolt it, and I think I'll have a little bit better luck. It actually was not too bad of a trip. None of this stuff was terribly expensive. I'll be able to return my power steering pump off of this because it isn't any good anyways. I cleaned this up. It was bad. This is my accessory bracket from prying on it. I got a little bit frustrated and I started prying on it, and sure enough, I broke it. So don't pry on this thing. It's not as strong as you think it is. Don't pry on it. But you can get it off. There's loads of these things in the salvage yard because they put these LS motors in so many different vehicles, and there's lots of them wrecked in the junkyard. And it was a pretty worthwhile trip because I ended up I was able to get, I already replaced this, but I can never find a good passenger side taillight for my Dodge Magnum. And I can always get driver sides but never get a passenger side. But now I'll show you what I found, because you always turn a bad day into a good day. But I found this taillight here, and it is beautiful. I can never find a good passenger side. And the old one just had cracks and splits. It would get water in it. It was just awful. And I couldn't wait to find a new one. Actually, I'll tell you how much I paid for this taillight. It's pretty expensive. Let's see here. Not to come off the subject, but I like finding good deals on stuff always. So, taillight assembly. Woo! I paid $16 for that. And that bracket is actually going to be $7.78. And I even get a $2 core for the broken one. What a great deal. I tell you what, that's the beauty of driving vehicles that have been on the road for a while. There's lots of them in the salvage yard. And I even get Well, I don't need a power steering pump core. I'm just returning them their power steering pump back because I don't need it. And I already told them it looked like it was bad. But yeah, best way to do this, most efficient way, is cut it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this pulley off, and I'm going to see how long it takes. Okay, so I didn't include you in the grinding and cutting. It was kind of noisy. It didn't take but 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes with my Harbor Freight Drill Master, which I've beat to death on all kinds of projects. What I've done, I think I could get to most of the bolts, if not all of them. Instead of using the puller, I just decided to go ahead and cut. And I left some sections in here because I know I could just hit that with a hammer. It's going to drop right out. And I don't want to damage my bracket. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and give this thing a whack. We'll see if this little chunk comes out. See how it goes. Let's see what we've got going on here. There it goes. Should come right out. There it goes. Now, let's give it a little prop. See what we got going here. This thing here, pry it just a little bit and see if that thing comes out. There we go. Now it's coming out. Let's get this chunk out of here. Help. I really did not feel like using that puller again. So this right here, I think is going to, oh yeah. So, what we're going to do now is we are going to get our, let's see what we need. I think that's 15 millimeter. I'm about to find out. Let me check. Okay. What do we need? That's too big. Right over here. It's already in the, I think this is it right here. Bingo, look at that. Can't beat that. So we'll take this bolt all the way out. See, normally you wouldn't be able to back the bolt all the way out far enough. That's why you need to use the puller. But I thought, I'm not going to spend more than 8 to 10 minutes on this thing. We'll let the guys at the power steering pump rebuild place deal with this mess, which is a lot easier for them. I'm sure they have better equipment for this kind of stuff. This one here is out a little bit, but we'll see what we can do, because I might be able to tap that in with a hammer a little bit. Let's see where the third bolt is. I know there's 3 altogether, and the third one might need a little more. Let's see what we can do. That might be a problem. So let me just tap it down. Maybe we can do that. I don't think we're going to damage anything if we tap it down. Worst comes to worst, we can grind it a little more, but I'm going to carefully tap this and not damage this housing if I can. This metal is nice and weak now. Carefully tap that down. I may have to cut a little bit more. I think I'm going to. So let's go over here. You can follow me over here, and we'll do a little bit more grinding. I'll put my safety glasses on. And we'll cut it a little bit more. I don't want to do anything to possibly damage this housing. I've already done enough. I don't need to go. I'll bring my socket with me and my extension. We'll make sure we got it. Let's go over here. And chair. It's easier when you can sit down and look right at it. So, make sure this thing's not going to leak out. I'll put a piece of cardboard just in case. You never know. We got a piece of cardboard and my chair. You can stay right there. All right. Now, set this down. Just another couple minutes of cutting. Shouldn't be any big deal. Shouldn't be too tough. All right. Set this right here. I'll let the sparks go right between my legs. Like
Daddy, can I back up a lot?
What's that?
Can I just back up a really lot?
Yes, back up pretty far.
Like this much?
Yeah, that's good. we can get some vice grips. Let's get some big channel lock vice grips. And we'll give it a try. Let's see what we have. My vice grips. Maybe not. I'll use these big pliers. See if we can do it with pliers. There's always a possibility. Yeah, I need vice grips. Vice grips are the only thing for stuff like this. Hopefully they didn't fall victim to the salvage yard. I don't think so. Thought I kept accountability of everything. Maybe. I was in a hurry. I might have left them in there. Unfortunately, let me see what other vice grips I have. Maybe these will work. These might do the trick. Almost there. Sometimes you have to double a wrench up on these too. Now, snap this right on here. They're nice and tight. A little more. See what we can do. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're doing some destruction. Here we go. Without tearing up my. Ooh, perfect right there. That's perfect. That's all you need right there. So just cut a little bit more. Use your vice grips. That's the way to do it. Oh, I need my ratchet too. Right off. Come back over here, John. All right. Looks like we're in business. We can definitely get to this bolt. I think. Yep. Just enough room. There you go. There you go. You have to be resourceful when you're trying to take apart your stuff. And everything for these vehicles that you find in the junkyard, salvage yard, it's going to have a bunch of miles on it, because these trucks have a tendency to last forever and not need much. This power steering pump might have done for somebody else, but it was just bothering me enough to where I had to replace it. Let's see what we have here. Oh, there's the other bolt right there. Let's see what we can do here. Right there. Let's see if I can get that thing to turn. Just barely enough room to get in there. Might not be enough. Let me see if I can angle it. Let's see here. Might need a little bit more. I don't know. Let's see what I can do. That might come out. Let's try with the vice grips one more time. So, is that going to work? Let's try spinning it back and forth a little bit. Take a chunk out of it or something. We're so close, so close. Actually, looks like it moves around quite a bit now, because I've already taken this one loose with a wrench. Oh, look at that. We can adjust the whole pump. Yeah, look at that. We can adjust the whole pump and we can lift it away. So that should, yeah, there we go. So that's all we have to do. We need a wrench now. 15mm wrench. Stay right here. Let's see if we can get in here. Sorry for the confusion. I was up late last night trying to get this thing, and now we need to get, possibly turn it like this. All right, moving the pulley at the same time as we move the wrench. Lifting up at the same time so we have room, because this is going to come off the other way. I think we're going to be good. I know we're going to be good. Almost there. This is there's no such thing as you can't get something off, as long as you have some little ingenuity and some halfway decent tools. Some of this Harbor Freight stuff is really good. I've had good luck with it. We're getting it. You've got to kind of work everything together. Work it together. I can't quite get a socket on there, I don't think. Maybe I can now. Let me see. Maybe it's come loose enough to where I can get a socket in there. Yes, I can do it. This is all it takes. Much better than all the hassle of dealing with that puller, which is already bent and doesn't quite have the tolerance pulling apart something this welded on here, which is what it is. And I think that if I wasn't even going to attempt this, because this power steering pump was bad, and it takes a lot to make these things go bad. But look at that. Look at that. Bam! Look at that. I bring this right back to the salvage yard, just like this. But yeah, this pump is totally shot. This is the one from the salvage yard. So here's my good part. I'll clean this up, and I'll put my accessories back on it before I even put it in the truck. It's actually easier with it off. It's easier with it all off, I think. So that's what we're gonna do. Stop it. I'm gonna see how long it takes, but I'm not gonna film during the cutting. I'm gonna cut it first, and I'll just let you know how it comes out, and I'll show you what I do. Okay. The button.
What? Pause it.
All right. So I went to LKQ, and I returned my power steering pump core, and I cleaned up my bracket, and I sandblasted it, and I cleaned it, and I painted it. And now it's time to put the pulley back on. I'm not doing it while it's in the truck. I remembered some bees attacked me while I was in the salvage yard getting off a taillight, and that's why I left. I did leave my vice grips. I found them. I went back in there today. I found them, and I decided to look around, and I found another treasure. I'm going to try this out because I already have mine out, and mine has 252,000 miles on it, so I figured I'd go ahead and get this bestest remanufactured alternator from an Avalanche. And I paid $41 for this, and I'm going to see if it works. If it works, I'm going to try it out and put my original back in and keep this in my toolbox so in case I ever need it. Make sure it charges well, and I'll keep it as a spare. That was a pretty good buy, I think. And basically with this here, I put some anti-seize compound, gray anti-seize compound on this, and I wiggled it on, and I just tapped it with a rubber mallet and got it snug on there. Tightened this bolt down with this 14 millimeter, which is what it is. It's the 14 millimeter in this kit, this puller kit, which is the 670-10. And as you can see, these are the parts I didn't need. I didn't need any of these. And so I wouldn't get stung by a burr. I'm just wearing some gloves. And it's going on a lot better than it came off, which is great. Everything looks good. I have this bolt nice and tight. Now I'm just going to crank this thing down and see how it does. And put my hand on this, grip it tight, just work it around. Just work it. I'm not going to pinch it with vice grips or anything. We'll see if I can just do it like this. It seems to be a lot easier. And this pulley is a Dorman Solutions 300-200. I got it at O'Reilly Auto Parts, and I paid $18 for it. Well worth it. Well worth the money. So, like this. See if we can get this thing all the way down, and I think it's going to work. It's going all the way down. All we just need to do is get it flush. Nice and flush. Yeah, I got this thing in pretty good shape. Let me Make sure I got everything I need to have on here. We're almost there. Get a good grip on it. And gloves make a big difference. Make it a lot easier to grip it. This thing's far down as it'll go. I said you have to have anti-seize. That way, if for any reason I have to take this back off, it won't be a big deal. I'm gonna get this thing, get all the lines hooked up first. See how it does. See where we're at on this. Tighten this down some more. Oh no. Okay. That's not good. Lost a couple threads on this. See if we can get this back in here. This is one of those things you have to deal with sometimes. We have to clean up these threads. May have to clean the threads up first. Or trim the bolt. There's always a chance we have to do that. Get down in there. Oh yeah, she's threading back down. Still a little ways to go. Oh my, get all the way in there, baby. Okay, we'll see. Hopefully that's going to work. I hope. Hopefully it's enough. Get on in there, baby. Don't pull out the threads. Get you all the way in. Nice and flush. That's where it was before. Flushed. Okay. Now, my daughter had to help me hold the strap wrench. I used my Craftsman strap wrench to hold this down like so, while I at the same time held this pulley and turned this with my gear wrench, my 17mm gear wrench. She had to hold down on this, I had to hold this and turn it. It's a lot. It takes a lot of force to get this thing to go down. But we got it. I think we've got it. So we're going to back it off. We're going to back the bolt off now. Let's back this off first in case we need to give it any more. We'll be good to go. Back this off. It's flush. We're good to go. We are good to go. See, that's what you want to see right there. Nice and smooth and flat right across. Tighten it up as far down as it'll go. This is why it's not a good idea to get a alternator from the salvage yard. Reman alternators are no good. Just get Delphi's. Delphi alternators, you can't go wrong. That's what I'll be doing when I need one. Let me take this off and put the original back on.